but yeah, we'll try and get going here in just a moment. If you are watching this, you will be sent out a survey. I will get through all the precursor stuff here first. We're going to send you out a survey. If you fill out that survey for us via email, we'll give you a 10% discount for the content store. So make sure that you fill that survey and send it back to us. We are recording this as well. So if you miss anything and you want to review it on your own time, we're going to be posting it on YouTube. We are also live streaming on YouTube, but we won't be answering questions on the YouTube chat, just so you're aware for those of you who are joining us via YouTube. We have a Zoom panel. If you're joining with Zoom, there's a Q&A section on Zoom that you can post your questions in, and we'll get to the questions in the last section of the webinar here, last 10, 20 minutes or so. We'll answer as many questions as we can, and then we'll get going. What else do we have to go through? I think that's about it for the webinar here. Question Q&A, email register, blah, blah, blah. Yep, I think we're good. All right, so let's move on to the stuff that we need to take a look at before we get to the actual live demo here. For those of you who aren't aware, for the next week or so, we still have the lip sync animation contest going on. You can find this on the Reallusion main page. And this is a competition you can join to get a whole bunch of really cool prizes. There's already been a whole bunch of really cool entries sponsored by a lot of really cool sponsors here. Marvelous Designer, FX Home, NVIDIA Epic Games, yada, yada. I won't go into too much detail on this, but you can win like a whole bunch of prizes. You can see like 3,000 US dollars, DA points, a whole bunch of other stuff. And there's all kinds of other prizes you can browse on your own time. I won't go into too much detail on this because you can kind of browse this on your own time. If you want to find it from the main page, the Reallusion main page, you can just go to the main page here and down to this featured products and events section here. This is where we post a lot of the most new relevant stuff. And you'll see the lip sync animation contest here. And I highly encourage you to join it. We have a lot of cool entries, and we'd like to see a lot more from you guys as well. I think it seems like Microsoft Edge wants to do something. All right, anyways, I'll post this in the chat window for you guys just for easy access. All right, so that's the lip sync competition taken care of. What else do we got to run through really quick here before we get started? I think that's about it. We'll just go through the webinar outline here. If you're signed up for this webinar, you've probably already gone through this, but we're going to be really focused on ActorCore, as well as a couple of Python plugins. The Python Open API is not really super new. I think it's in the last couple of years here. So we won't be going into too much detail on that. I'll be showing you a couple of the plugins focused around camera work that just make the camera work a lot easier, really quick and easy to do. You'll see I'll do it in like 5 minutes essentially. So it really speeds up your workflow for camera work. ActorCore characters are optimized for use. They're low poly, low resource, single material characters. We'll talk more about the technical details later more if you want. But very, very useful for all sorts of different projects. Anything from architectural pre-visualization, which has become more and more popular these days. To your film products or your film projects rather, or game projects, whether you're using Unity or Unreal, whatever game engine you're using, optimized for use in those as well. So very low resource ActorCore characters and a whole bunch of motion libraries as well. So yeah, we'll be going through all this stuff here. You can kind of, you're probably familiar with this. So I won't go into too much detail. So let's get started. That's basically enough of an introduction, I think. As well, make sure that you are putting the questions in the Q&A window. If you want to chat in the chat window, that's fine too. I'll be putting links in there a little bit later on as well, probably. Okay, so let's just start on the main page here. Reallusion, we're going to talk about ActorCore first, because ActorCore is something we haven't really focused on in previous webinars. So I kind of want to show you guys, give you a little bit of an introduction to ActorCore, how it can improve your workflow and make it more efficient. And we'll go through that, and then we'll get to the plugins right after this, all right? So from the main page, if you want to access ActorCore, you can go up to Products, and there's Cloud Service ActorCore 3D Assets Platform. Just click on that. And you'll see a kind of an introduction here. There's a bunch of promoted packs at the top. There's some free stuff. We're going to be dealing with. I'm going to be using actors from these Party People Volume 1, Party People Volume 2. We won't be using Roman characters in this one because it's a modern scene more or less. So there's a whole bunch of packs they're promoting at the top. A whole bunch of stuff down here. You can click on any one of these to kind of see how you can use ActorCore in your projects. A lot more like marketing kind of sales stuff that you can go through on your own time there. Let's go up to the top here. But ActorCore is essentially contains a huge library of motions. We've been collecting, Realision's been in business for over 20 years now. I've been collecting, hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of motions, really, and all of them are available on ActorCore for the most part. So there's two options down here. You can view motions or view actors. Let's take a look at view actors first. Okay, so this is the main ActorCore interface. And if you want more introduction, more detailed introduction on ActorCore, there's actually tutorials that I've done that go into more detail on it. And I can provide those links later if you want. But on the top, along the top here, there's some of the main packs. And you can see there's a check mark on some of these packs here. That means I've already purchased them. So if you've used ActorCore already, the check mark will mean you've purchased the product. And if there's a cart here, that means you can still purchase it. You can throw it into your cart if you want, excuse me. And you can see there's some really cool fantasy figures and stuff like that. And then there's individual actors down here. You can go into actor and you can filter down by items. So this will be individual actors. All right, you can see they're roughly around $30 each. You can go into packs here, just kind of filter by whatever. And then there's hot as well. Different ways you can filter it, bestsellers. Your typical interface for an online marketplace. You should be familiar with this if you do any online shopping. And then there's categories, of course. For mail, if you want a mail character, you can click on mail. We've just started this in the last couple of months, so this is going to be constantly expanding. We're going to be, consistently adding more and more and more stuff to this library here. So just check back. Basically, every week we're going to be throwing stuff in there. So if you're, wanting more content, check back more often. All right, we'll go over to motions here as well. So motions, there's a lot more motions. You can see thousands of motions literally here. And again, there's going to be stuff being added onto these, weekly, essentially. You can also go to the packs if you want to download like motion packs. There's a whole bunch of just specific packs for specific functions. I often use, for corporate training sort of things, I use these office working and meeting ones. Those are two ones to really take a look at. Home life is a good one. City life. These packs are all really useful. But again, if you're in a bind and you're like, oh, I just need this quick animation, say for talking, for example, you can click in the search field and type in talking, and you'll see basically anything related to talking, if you want to be specific. Another way you could find another talking animation is just go down to communication here under categories. All right, and you can also filter through usage as well. Business and training, architecture, visualization, film, game. But communication is one that you'll kind of frequent, I imagine. A lot of people need, just idle and communication type motions here. They're very basic. Let's take a look at maybe this one, walk calling, for example. This one I've already purchased. So if you click on it, I believe this is part of the City Life pack. What will happen is it'll just kind of demo that motion. You can move around your window pretty easily. Okay, and it'll just kind of loop back and forth. You can left click and drag to kind of just pan around. Right clicking will essentially do the same thing. Basic navigation in the viewport here, and so on and so forth. All right, you can also go over here to info and find the information, how the duration of it, and all sorts of the tags and stuff like that as well. Now, if you want to purchase a motion, essentially what you want to do, let's try and just purchase a quick motion here. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to be using the one that I'm purchasing, but maybe we'll just use this something that looks kind of interesting. Close chat. Okay, this one looks interesting. Whatever. You can heart it to save it for later, favorite it, whatever you want to call it. You can throw it into your cart just by clicking this right here. When you throw it into the cart, it'll change to a kind of a green angle there, or green arrow pointing right, and then you can click on the cart, and it'll take you directly to your cart. So I guess I have a character loaded up here as well, Lord of Darkness. He's in my cart as well, and of course you can load the characters the same way that you load the emotions. I actually want to go back and show you that as well here. If we go to actor, and I just choose, let's find a companion for Lord of Darkness, maybe a druid. That looks freaky. So when you click on the druid, it'll just kind of preview the character here. And you can see it's using the motion that we have. It takes a while for the material to load there. Okay, then you go to info, and here's the specifications for your druid. Okay, you can browse that all in your own time. Note that the texture resolution is 4K, so they're very, very high resolution textures. They're all merged into one material. This is very important. So it takes a lot less time for an engine, either a game engine or iClone, to load a single material rather than a whole bunch of materials separate. It's really, really saves a lot on resources, real-time resources. And they're only about 15 to 20,000 triangles. Okay, multiple meshes. That's very low resource. You can find characters that have millions of triangles. So these ones are very, very low. It talks about the shader details and the rigs. They have the option for both facial and body animation, and 60 facial expressions blend shapes for your facial expressions and lip syncs. Okay, so they're very highly functional and just kind of useful for quick and easy import into your project. So we have that character on our in our card as well. Let's go back up to our card here. Now there's a couple of options. There's also free content as well, by the way. If you click on free content just before we get into the purchasing, you can find all the freebie stuff down here and go into that. All right. There's a bunch of free stuff. So I advise you to take advantage of that while you can. That'll probably be changing often. So make sure that you get the free content while it's being published. Okay, so we have an option here to check out. If we have a coupon code, we can enter our coupon code. I'm just going to check out here. Now, you can obviously use PayPal, credit card, DA points. I want to talk a little bit about DA points because DA points, you can actually get a discount if you use DA points. Now, DA points are short for direct access points, and those are the points we use for like any of our marketplaces, content store marketplace. You can use DA points for anything on the Reallusion site, essentially. One US dollar will equal to 100 DA points. So if you buy like 10,000 DA points, which is like 100 US dollars, you actually get 1,000 rather free DA points. So you get $10 off additional for every $100 you spend. That's kind of like the incentive to buy more. Anyways, so yeah, we have the different packs. You can just buy now, buy now, buy now. You can also earn more by becoming a developer and selling your own content in the marketplace or the content store. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on here. I want to get through this faster because I have a lot of animation to do here. So apologies if I'm kind of moving at a record pace here. But okay, once you're done that, just get your DA points. I'm going to use DA points here. Agree to the terms and conditions. Don't worry, we're not asking you to sell your soul. And then just go continue. And then once that's done, blah, 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 place order. Okay, so then I'll have this Lord of Darkness. When I go into iClone, I'll find him in my smart gallery, and I'll be able to find the closed chat as well. Okay, so that about covers the ActorCore. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to put those questions in the Q&A section, and I'll get to those later. This is the project that we're going to be recreating here. I'll just play this back really quickly for you. And these are all ActorCore characters, and this is some scene that I set up here. So it's just kind of following a guy walking through, and believe it or not, this entire scene, we're going to be recreating this in probably about 45 minutes, I think, depending on how quickly we can get through things here. Notice the subtle changes of depth of field with the camera. We'll talk about that later. This guy's just going on a regular walk through a New York street here. And you got some guys just jamming and whatever, and then walks off into the distance. Okay, so we're going to be basically recreating that. No worries. And when you download your stuff, it's going to be in the Smart Gallery. You may want to just refresh the Smart Gallery here using this little icon up here, refresh, and that'll just resync your Smart Gallery there. And it should be ready in just a moment. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can generally just go to this. Often will take a little bit longer than a single refresh to find, but you can go over here to new purchase here. Oh, I have something in the search field there. Okay, so in the new purchases, you can go to items and, new purchases. And these will be the items that I just purchased here. I purchased a bunch of avatars. There's my close chat, okay? And you'll see that it doesn't have, that has like a cloud, a green cloud here. If I double click that, it'll download, okay? So it doesn't download automatically, but it just adds to the smart gallery. And there's my Lord of Darkness right there. Okay, you can just double click that and it'll download Lord of Darkness. And then just for fun, we can drag our Lord of Darkness into the scene here and see what he looks like. I'm kind of curious. I haven't seen him close up. I mean, yeah, there he is. Not strange to see this on a regular New York street, just regular Tuesday in New York City, I would say. Anyways, there's your Lord of Darkness that we just purchased, and you bring him in just like that. Let's take a look at him in the Modify tab up here and go to Materials. Just kind of see the structure. You can see it's a single mesh, okay? Single mesh, single color, metallic and roughness maps, bump maps, all the maps there, but just a single material and a single mesh, okay? So very simple. And if we have him selected, you can see selected triangle up here is only 17,000. So very low resource character to be in your scene. You can take a look at this guy. He's even less. He's like 12,000, I guess, because he doesn't have all the cool funky armor. But there you go. Also one mesh, one material, using a PBR shader. So, very easy and very low resource to have in your scene. Okay, we'll take that guy out of the scene first. And I think we can just really quickly get into our scene here. But before we do that, I'll show you quickly how to take a look at the plugins, the Python plugins for iClone here. So let's go ahead and close this down, close down ActorCore. I can close down all the other sites here. If you want to learn more about the API, you can go to Products and iClone, since it's an iClone plugin, okay? And just go to Learn here, or sorry, Add-ons rather, and Plugin Center. And there's under Pipeline, you'll find at the very bottom, you'll find a couple of other plugins, Pipeline plugins, mocap stuff. And at the very bottom, you'll find iClone Open, extending iClone with Python API. Okay, so you can click on this, and I'll throw this in the chat window as well for you guys. Oh man, people in lockdown. So I guess now that you're locked down, you're kind of forced to be here with me and watch this webinar. Captive audience, as we call it. Anyways, yeah, so Python API. Yeah, all the stuff here, I won't go into much detail on it. You can read it on your own time here. There's a couple of ones that we promote on the main page for animation. This joint-driven morph one's really cool. Allows you to kind of flex the muscles automatically when you move your character using the Edit Motion Layer tool. It'll flex the muscles automatically. That's a pretty cool one to check out. Hand gesture puppeteering, and all sorts of other stuff. This light remote control one's pretty cool. I find this one's pretty cool because you can actually control the lights in your scene from your cell phone. You don't have to go to your scene manager. You can just like open up your cell phone and just like, turn the lights on and off, and pretty cool. So I recommend going into more detail and checking these out. To download and install a plugin, it's quite simple. Go to your marketplace, which is marketplace.reallusion.com. You can also get there from the main page. If we go back to the main page here, stores and marketplace right here. Okay, so software store is where you buy the software. Content store is like the marketplace, but more kind of what's the word? We filter it more. Okay, I'm trying to think of that word. When for a person in a museum, it's just skipping my mind right now. Anyways, marketplace. And you can go to marketplace here, and oh, sorry, curated. We curate it more. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so in marketplace, anyways, go to iClone, and under iClone, you'll see plugins. Okay, and here are all the plugins that we have from both Reallusion. So you can see Reallusion iClone, and some of them from other developers like G Tools. So we've just started this over the last year or so, so it's still quite new, but we already have about 46 different plugins. There's a few that I can really recommend. the camera autofocus is one we're going to be talking about today. The joint driven morph one I really recommend as well. Let me see here. We're also going to be talking about the auto, what is it? Where am I here? Sorry, the autofocus. That'll be here somewhere. Can't seem to find it right now, but yeah, a whole bunch of other ones. And there's one that's automatic generator, not texture generator, automatic terrain generator. I can't seem to find that one either. But anyways, we'll take a look at that a little bit later on because I want to really focus now. We're already a couple minutes or 20 minutes in here. I want to focus on the demo and kind of showing you how to kind of put together a scene really quickly. So let's get out of this right now. Again, any questions you can always ask me a little bit later. And I can maybe show you how to install the camera plugins once we get to that point. Okay, so I have this project at a starting phase. So I'm going to just go back to load that up here. And it has night lighting. So just we'll just adjust the lighting at the very end here. But here's where we're going to start the live demo. So we got, T-minus 40 minutes here to whip up an animation or whip up a scene where we have, multiple, how many, like 7 or 8 animated characters, bringing them into our scene, and basically doing the entire project in less than an hour here. So we'll just go, it's like a speed round of creation here. So I have this kind of cool looking street that I just created from a content pack. This is called Extreme City or something. You can find that in the marketplace or the content store. I'm just going to go up here to auxiliary lighting right now. This is the kind of the basic lighting that just doesn't have any shadows, useful for just kind of putting together your animations. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my smart gallery here and new purchase. I can go to the main folder up here under pack or under item. I'll go under pack here and select all. And then I'm just going to type in casual because the pack is called casual. And you'll see it'll appear right here. It'll be colored. Did I type in the right thing? Casual. One of the things I don't like is that you can't sometimes see the search field there. Okay, it's not appearing. That should be appearing there. Anyways, okay, so we'll just go to new purchase. Casual people. Okay, there it is. Volume 1. So we'll click that and go to this corner here. And the first thing we're going to do is create our jogger. So there's a lot of really good animation tips that are going to be shown in the next 40 minutes here. So if you're having struggles with animation, I'd recommend this will be a good kind of class for you to pay attention to. Let's click on this jogger character here. And we're going to have her just basically jog down the sidewalk in a straight line. Nothing too complicated. It'll be very easy to do that. And she's essentially just going to be jogging from here to the very end. Okay, this is the scene from a different perspective here. So we want her to obviously to be facing forward first. We want her to be facing this way since she's going to be running forward. If I apply a motion to her, what's known as a root motion that actually changes the position of the character on the screen, they'll run forward in the direction that they're facing before you apply it. So the first thing I want to do is go to modify here. I'll press the E hotkey to do rotation here. And notice the transform values here. You want to pay attention to these ones. I'll rotate her like this. And I've essentially set up everything on a grid here. So if I press Control G, you can see a grid that goes straight down. And this is the way I kind of like to put together scenes along a grid because that way it's easier to have characters walk like, perpendicular to each other. And then I can set this to exactly 90 degrees. I don't have to worry about the tweaking it or anything like that. And then just press W to go to movement. It won't really matter, but I'll press Control G to get rid of the graph or the grid there. Now, what we're going to do is have her run forward. Very simple again. So just go to our smart gallery here. I'm just going to go back to the main packs here. We can just go to item. You can search by pack or item, of course. I'm going to go to item here. I'm going to search for move_run. Okay, there's a motion called move_run. And if I right click on this, you can find the file. You can go to product info and you can see it's part of a pack called Spunky Moves. Okay, so this is a content pack in the content store, or you can find it on ActorCore as well, and the tags and everything like that. So very important there. Now, when I apply this, she's going to start running. She'll get into a running position. And I'm going to press F3 and go into the timeline here. And I'm going to use this doohickey here called Object Related Track. Just click on that. Make sure it's enabled, because that when it's enabled, anything you click on, it'll automatically load the tracks for that item or character in the timeline here. You can see casual female loads her up, and we've applied this move run. Okay. So if I hold Alt and scroll my mouse wheel, I can zoom in on the timeline there and just kind of play back. So she'll move and she'll stop there. Okay. Now you may think that, hey, maybe I can just kind of, loop this over and over again, ad nauseum, and she'll keep on running. Unfortunately, every time you loop a motion clip like this, a root motion, it will go back to the original position, which is right over here. So if I try to loop this right now, by clicking and dragging on the end of the timeline, you'll see she will just kind of go back and then go back and then go back. Okay, so not something we likely want to have. I'm going to Control Z and undo that. What I like to do here is, what you have to do is, you can click anywhere in the clip, make sure it's selected, and then press the Tab key. If you press Tab, you can go to the very end of your clip. You can also press Shift Tab to go to the very beginning of your clip. Okay, so Tab and Shift Tab. You can also do this with keyframes. Very useful tip there. And essentially, what we have to do is just keep on applying that. Okay, so when we apply it again, she'll continue moving. So she'll stop here, and then she'll just continue moving along here. So just click in the very middle of the clip, Tab, and then let's just zoom out here. Let's press the G hotkey, actually. The G hotkey will give you an overhead view. And we'll just have her run all along here. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit monotonous here. Just Tab, double click. Click again, Tab, double click. And she'll eventually make her way down to the very end. Okay, you can zoom out a little bit. So just have to do this a few more times. We're going to go to about frame 1200 here. So again, this can be a bit monotonous, but as of right now, this is the only way to do this. But some good news coming up. We will be making this easier to do in, hopefully she wasn't going through the, oops. Make sure she's not going through the, oh, she was going through the, I'll tell you what we'll do. Here's a good learning opportunity here. She's going, you can see here, she's, I kind of aligned it a little bit wrong. So she's kind of going through the actual grid there, I guess. But I'll show you how to fix that if you come across a situation like this. So let's just keep doing what we're doing here. And go to the very end. And what we're going to do is just kind of merge those clips. We're going to do a lot of keyframe editing in this, or not keyframe, clip editing in this webinar here. So again, just blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure how far I want her to run. I think I did frame like 1200 or something last time. She eventually runs off the screen, in which case we don't need her anymore. So that's a few more. Okay, and we'll just take her to the end of the block there. Why not? Okay, so what I'm going to do here, the easiest way to do this is we're just going to basically merge all of these clips together. So I'm going to Control click on all these clips here. Fortunately, we can't click and drag and select them at the moment. What I was going to say is that iClone 8 will have a lot more functionality than this. Oops, this one. So let's right click on this and merge the clips. And the reason I'm doing this is because if you try and adjust it manually, it's going to kind of position itself differently at the beginning of each clip. So it's something you don't want to do. And this way, what you can do is at the very beginning of the entire motion, you can see that she's a little bit too close. So let's just take her at the very beginning, frame 1. Let's take her and move her slightly over. And when we do that, there you go. She won't, or she's kind of still going through the end there. Let's just take her a little bit forward. The perspective is kind of messing with me there. So make sure that she's not going through the balcony there. Again, I'm using the A, S, D, and F hotkeys, okay, to get like different perspectives, just kind of quick perspectives on this. And we'll just assume that she's okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this right here. Yeah, she's okay. Well, she's good enough. Okay, so that's a very, very simple, having your character run, you can merge all those together and just bring it into a single clip. And when you do this, you can actually save this clip. So you don't have to keep on reapplying and reapplying and reapplying again. You can just right click on the clip and you can select save clip. And once you do that, then you have a much longer run. So it's just kind of a longer run that you can save instead of continuing applying that run again. Okay, let's go to a different scene here. We're gonna have two other couples sitting on this balcony here, just kind of chatting it up right over here. So I'm gonna go to my casual stuff again here. Oops. Let's go to new purchase, whatever. And let's find two casual dudes or individuals we can bring in here. And we're gonna just have them chatting with each other. She looks fine. And let's bring this guy here in the shirt in here. Okay, so the way I would organize this is I would just basically have her, and I go to modify. I use the E hotkey and rotator. So this time it's going to be -90. Okay, she's going to be facing exactly that way. And he's going to be facing 90 degrees on the Z axis. Okay, we have to fit them both on this balcony. So let's bring them a little bit closer together. We'll assume they're not too shy. All right. A little bit closer. Whoop, whoop. It's getting uncomfortable there. All right. And then I'm going to control click both of them. Okay, so click on, hold control and click on both. And then I can bring them up at the same time. And just bring them over. Shazam. All right. And there we go. We'll just kind of assume that they're on the ground. Okay, we'll bring it from there, whatever. Okay, good enough. Maybe a little bit up. Oh, man, come on. Might have to do this manually. Oh, no, that's fine. We'll just work with that. Okay, so for the woman, we're just going to apply a simple motion to her. Maybe I'll bring her a little bit more this way. Simple motion to her. We're going to go to Smart Gallery. I'm just going to go to Items, All, and just search for Idle, IDLE. Apologies that you can't see what I'm searching for here. We really got to work on that, getting that search field longer. But you also have to trust me that I'm typing in idle, because idles will show up here. And then there's a bunch of idles you'll see. And there's one here called idle motion. It's quite a long motion. And I'll just apply that to her. Double click and loop it. We're doing nothing special with this one. This is just kind of a super easy idle. Okay, so if I play back, she's like, we could make her talk a little bit later if we have time to do some facial animation. But yeah, that's just basically an idle. And I want her to be kind of intently listening to this guy. So one way to do that is to use the look at constraint. And we can do that is go to the modify tab up here. Go to the attributes, and lower down in the attributes, you have a look at. And just pick target. Let's pick his head. Right now she's looking at his head, kind of looking up to him there. Okay, cool. Now this guy, we're going to have a little bit of a more complex animation. We're going to use a reach target in this one here. So with this guy, I'm going to just apply, again, go to the Smart Gallery and apply a lean. There's something called lean in chat. So I can just type in lean. Okay, and this is part of, I forget which pack this is. The Social Gatherings Motion Pack, okay? You can click on it and it'll take you to the page. There you go. This is a super old one. You can see the resolution. Anyways, so I'll just click on that. And he's just going to be stepping on her toe a little bit there. So let's press the W hotkey and move him down slightly, maybe a little bit further back. Okay, and then you can see he'll be like, but he's kind of going through the railing there. So we don't want that. What we want to do is maybe move him a little bit further back here, like this. And you can see, all right, so the hand is like, basically the problem here is we need to get that hand into the correct position. But before we do that, let's go ahead and use the reach constraint. So what I'm going to do here is, with my character selected, at the point where he kind of makes contact with the frame or whatever, the railing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right before that, in my motion layer track, I'm just going to double click, okay, right about here. And what that'll do is it automatically opens up the edit motion layer tool. Okay, so that's pretty neat little shortcut. And we'll just basically do a really quick edit here. What I'm going to do is at this frame, when he makes contact, I want him to be a little bit higher. I want his hand to be a little bit higher. So I'm just going to take that hand and move it up like this. All right, kind of position it a little bit further down, maybe just like that. And you can see that adds a keyframe in the motion layer track. Pretty interesting stuff. If he, not really, but you can see also his hand goes through the railing before it reaches it. So what we want to do here is maybe at this frame between those two keyframes, we want to raise that hand right there, so he doesn't go through. We need to do that faster earlier, and take it a little bit further back as well. There you go. So then he's going to like this, put his hand on the railing, and it kind of slides off like that. So what we're going to do to fix that is at this frame here, when he lands, we're going to go ahead into the animation tab here and use edit reach target. Okay. And edit reach target is essentially a way to lock your character's, hands into position. You can generally use this for things like, baseball bats or riding a bicycle, stuff like that. A very quick crash course here though for you. I'm going to select his left hand here and select a Reach Effector. Click on Reach Effector and that'll bring up a big orange circle, sphere rather. And what we want to do is select that sphere, double click it. And when we do, you can see it loads up dummy hand. Don't worry too much about this right now. We have a transform keyframe right there, which adjusts the position of that. If I were to press the W hotkey and move that around, notice that his hand is kind of locked to the position of the dummy. Okay, and that's a Reach Effector. Just kind of locks your character's hands or feet or chest or anything really to the dummy. I'm going to Control Z that and do that. All right, and right here we're just going to kind of at the extent of his lean right there. So when he leans like really forward like that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that back. Okay, just like that. And make sure that we're good on this angle as well. And we will also crunch his fingers up a little bit as well too, just because it looks weird. So just kind of like there. And there you go. Good enough. All right. So we can maybe a little bit, a few frames later, we can kind of just rotate it like that. Whatever. Okay, cool. So it's kind of positioned nicely on the ledge, maybe a little bit further in there. I want to do that here as well. Oops. And sorry if I'm going pretty fast through this again. Time is of the essence here, but just trying to get those positioned properly. There we go. We'll just use this for now. Okay, and then what I want to do here is let's make that dummy invisible. So let's go to our scene manager here and just make it invisible. And we're good enough. What I'm going to do then is go back into the select the character, go back into the motion layer editor here at about a frame like about here. And I'm going to begin, just double click that. When you double click in the motion layer track right here, it creates a keyframe for all of the other body parts. Just be aware of that. And then here I'm going to curl his hand by clicking and dragging. And in the palm there, you can curl the hand like this, which is nice. Okay, you can do them all at once. And we're just going to work with that. That'll be fine. Okay, and that'll add a keyframe there. So here he kind of puts his hand down and kind of curls it up like that. And you can click and drag that later if you want it to be slower. But there you go. Okay, smooth move. He looks pretty smooth talking to that girl on the balcony. All right, anyways, we'll work with that. Then we want to extend that throughout the entire animation as well. Okay, so like that. There you go. However, when you select the character, the animation, he'll actually get back up. So he'll actually, like at this point here, he'll actually get back up. Whoops, which we don't want. Okay, we just want him to keep on leaning the entire time. So what we can do is at this frame here, let's just break that clip by right-clicking it and selecting break. Okay, there you go. Now what we can do here is from here, this frame here, we can break the clip again. If we try and loop this, again, it's not going to work because at the beginning we have this kind of like towards the lean. Essentially what we want to do is just loop that kind of entire lean process, or loop the entire when he's leaning. So we'll right click here and select break, and we have this leaning chat. Now we can copy that, right click and copy it, and then just paste it like a few frames after the previous one. So I can just Control V right there, and you can see the transition here. Okay, and it'll kind of like snap right here, like it'll snap like that. So we don't want that snap. So what we can do is we can actually just click and drag on the edge of our second clip and create a transition area, like maybe 50 frames long or something like that. And then what will happen is we'll have this, and he'll just kind of slowly, whatever, back to the position. And we can do that, continue to do that, just paste a little bit further on. Same thing, just click it and extend the transition area there, like that. And maybe one more time, okay? Cool. Coolio, okay. And we'll work with that. And we'll have him look at her as well. We'll have him, kind of be respectful. He's not looking off into the distance. So we're to our attributes, whoops, attributes, and pick her head. There you go. Now we have this couple right here. He's just kind of, leaning on the balcony there and chatting it up with her. And again, there's our jogger that runs by. So we've got a couple of things taken care of already. All right, that's one of the more complicated ones, just due to the reach target and the requirement to break it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is kind of, it may seem complicated, but it's actually quite simple. We'll have two, the couple that are in front of the window will have those two embracing and then walking away from each other. So let's go ahead and add those two characters first. We're going to go to Smart Gallery, and where's our casual? Oh no, these guys are the party. We're going to have the party characters now. So this female character right here, just have her standing over here. And then have the male character down here, standing over here. And we have to make sure that they don't get run over by the jogger. So I'll make sure they're not in her path. Where does she go? I'm kind of forgetting here. She goes about right there. All right, so when they're hugging, I believe they should be on the other side of her. So let's put them like just a little bit over here. Now notice we're at frame 400 when I'm doing this. I'm gonna just move them right here and make sure that they're not in the way. Just like here, and bring her over here as well. Now, when I do this at frame 401, if I go back to frame 1, notice my characters will, start sliding like that. This is a common thing that happens, and it's kind of annoying. But the way to solve it is just to like right-click on the character and select Remove Object Animation. I can do the same thing with this guy over here, Remove Object Animation, and then there's no animation. They'll just kind of remain in that position perpetually. Okay, so we're gonna have them face each other and then apply an animation. So again, E hotkey, rotate him, make sure he's like, relatively 90 degrees, negative 90 in this case. Okay, and bring her over here, rotate her, a bit further out here, make sure she's at 90 degrees. And then we have a motion that's you can purchase from the ActorCore individually or from one of the content packs as well, called Greet, I believe it's called. Yep, Greet friend. So let's just go to Greet, type in Greet here. And we have one for the female and one for the male. Let's click on her. There she is. And then click and drag to him as well. And there we go. Now, you'll see like, whoa, whoops, they're totally missing each other. So the easiest way to fix this is to just go at this frame where they're embracing right here, about that frame I would say right there. and we want to position them correctly. Now, again, this is at frame 240, but it doesn't really matter. Press the G hotkey to get a direct overhead view. This is the easiest to kind of see here. So what I'm just going to do is we'll just position him over here. Maybe they put them in the middle somewhere. She can be moved over a little bit as well. Whoops. Okay. Something like that would be, I think, okay. Let's go from a side perspective here. Okay, so a little bit of ghost hand, but that's okay. And then what you want to do is, obviously we can't do the same thing. We can't right click and remove the object animation like we did before. But what we can do is press F3 and go into our timeline. And because we've only made that one transform position change, just click and drag that one transform keyframe in the transform track, click and drag it to the very beginning, okay? And the same thing for the guy. Let's click and drag him. I don't know what he's looking at over there, but there you go. So his initial position will change when you do that. So he'll be like over here, and she'll be over here, and hug. There you go. Now they're hugging properly. Coolio, all right. And then I don't think she hits them. You know, joggers always in a world of their own. No, she misses them. So okay, then we're good to go. And she begins walking, and he begins walking. Oh, I think we did it in the wrong order. He's supposed to be walking the other way. No worries. We'll just follow the female character this time. All right, kind of forgot the order there. All right, but for this guy walking over here, again, what we'll do is just click on the clip, press tab, and then I'm just going to search for walk. Okay, I believe there's just a regular walk. Type in walk here. Let's go to packs and find a walk that's suitable for that pack here. I believe it's the City Life walk. That these characters are used to. We can always just go City Life as well. Life, search for that pack. There you go. And then when we're in here, we can search for walk. All right. Cool. So for him, just going to apply a normal walk. Okay. At the last frame of that clip. Okay. So he'll be just kind of moving on with his walk like this. Okay. And again, the same thing with him. Tab over, apply the walk again. You know, tab over, apply the walk again. Tab over, apply the walk again. Okay, I might go about a little bit over time on this one, guys. Since we're kind of short on time here. Spent too much time explaining stuff at the beginning. Since we're not kind of following him, we don't need to do all the walks. But yeah, let's have him just kind of go off the scene here somewhere. No worries. Okay, so that's enough for him. And then we're going to go back to the female character. For her, I'm going to press the G hotkey, or rather the F, or let's see, D hotkey works fine. So she has this greet, and she's ending up the greet. Again, same thing with her. However, with her, it's kind of weird because this particular motion doesn't really blend super well. And I'll show you how to fix that really quickly. So she has that female walk motion right here. So scene one, let's walk. Okay, you'll see it kind of, if we play back, it's kind of like a little doop-de-doop kind of mixed up sort of transition from one to the other. So what I'll do here is a couple things. The first thing to pay attention to is which leg is ahead. So right now, her right leg is ahead, and her left leg is going to come up. Okay, so we're getting ready for her left leg to come up. Now you see at the very beginning of this clip right here, the left leg does come up. Now we can, like, you know, click and drag and reduce the transition area and move it over just like this. Okay, and if we do that, notice it just kind of snaps, which is not good. So we want to find a position in the second clip where her left leg is like starting to come forward. All right, and that's not here. That's too far already. Okay, right there. So maybe something like this right here, where her left leg is beginning to come forward. Okay, just like this. And what I'm going to do is right click and break that clip. And then we're going to blend that in to the previous motion. Now this will cause an issue. You'll see in just a moment here. Let's just kind of blend it in, something like that. Okay, so now she's kind of moving forward. The transition is good. If you notice like how her legs are moving, that's good. Okay, but she's moving forward too much, which is whack. Okay, we don't want that. So the way to fix this is quite easy. You can just go to transform track at the first frame of your transition. Okay, make sure it's the very first frame of the transition. So like right here, just double click and add a transform keyframe. And you can make note of where your character is on the scene. Okay, so maybe we'll say her left heel is kind of right on the crack of the sidewalk there. And then we can go over here to the first frame of this clip right here, and then I'll just move her back. Okay, so what's going to happen is then we'll have this. But now you'll see it kind of like a little like doop-de-doop right here. And that's because the transition area is normally it's set to kind of ease in and ease out. It's not set to linear transition. So if I right click on my second transform clip right here, or transform track, or keyframe, that's what it is. Right click on it, go to transition curve presets. You'll see the default is kind of like I mentioned, ease in and ease out. We want to change this to linear. So once we do that, then it'll have a much more direct transition, okay? And she won't slide back and forth like she did before, because it's just a matter of the ease in and ease out, okay? And that's really the fastest way to fix that. So if we play back, you'll see she'll just kind of like maybe a little bit fast, but of course, if it's too fast like that, you can always click and drag and move it forward, or make the transition longer, whatever. We won't spend too much time on this, but that's the technique you use to kind of fix it. Okay, so then from this point on, we're just going to, again, apply all those motions to her, the same walk female, normal, just like this. And let's get a different view of her, G maybe. And after this, we have a little bit more animation to do, and then we'll get to our cameras. Again, whoops. Tab to the last frame. The good thing about her walk is it's a little bit longer, so we don't have to do as many. She'll walk all the way over here, and then yada, yada. Okay, so we have those two characters embracing and walking away from each other all the way down the street there. Good enough for me. She seems to be going a little bit to the side, but that's fine. So let's go ahead and add in those dancing characters all at the very beginning there. This will take about 5 minutes. So apologies if I go about 5-10 minutes over time here. So just bear with me. Let's try and find the position on our scene here. We're supposed to be at. We're on the wrong side. There we go. Okay, so we want to have our dudes just over here in front of this part of the building here, just kind of dancing around. Oops. I'll just throw those guys in. So we'll just kind of go to party again, or pack rather. We can find pack and just go to party. I'm going to show you a couple of easy ways to make, just animate characters really quickly on the fly here. Let's have them just kind of sitting here and dancing. The main dude in the middle was, this guy was observing, so we'll just throw him in from the party people pack. And he's going to have his own animation. We don't really need to worry too much about the angles of these characters since they're going to be stationary. And let's have the female character, party people volume 2, I think we need to go to. There's a party 2, I believe. Right, or casual. Oh, goodness. Character. Let's just throw in some randoms here. This guy looks cool. We'll throw him in. Purchase. Let's do that. And go to our packs. Oh. Party people. There you go, volume 2. That's what I was looking for. Not sure why that wasn't appearing before. Okay, we got this guy right here. He's going to be doing a dance. And then a female character. We probably won't have time to animate all of them the way I wanted to, but I just want to throw them in here anyways. Okay. So the first way I'm going to animate the first character, very simple. Just use a stand idle motion here. Just like this. Click on him, and we're going to go over to item and search for idle. And again, all of these, whoops, make sure we go to animation here. It's a specific idle. It's called stand idle. _idle. And stand idle B. So it kind of looks like he's actually dancing a little bit, jamming with a headset in. Okay, so he's basically going to be doing this, looking at this guy dance and kind of jamming like that. Cool. Now, there's a cool tool called the Motion Modify tool, which I want to touch on very briefly here. Right-click on your clip and go to Modify. Once you do that, you can actually modify the clip in various ways. Now, if I select Preview, what's going to happen, I'll press paste to preview. I can have my character, let's go up to the different parameters here. I can have him slouch down like this. Okay, so maybe he's slouching. So these are just basically, and these will modify the entire clip. I can have my neck forward, have him down like that. Obviously, I probably wouldn't want to do something like that. I can have lower his hips a little bit, so he's kind of getting more into it, And then exaggeration, you can exaggerate the upper, so more upper movement and more lower movement. Okay. And once you do that, and you're ready, and you think you have the parameters that you want, just press OK, and it'll just basically apply that to the clip. Okay. So now the clip's a little bit better, and then we can loop that clip. This one don't worry about it, we'll just loop it the entire time. Okay. And this guy over here, we can do motion puppet, and that's a really useful tool as well. Go to frame 1 here, have him look at the character, do dancing. Whoops. Nope, we don't want to rotate him that way. Rotate him around here, something like this. And there we go. Make sure he doesn't get hit by the jogger. Nope, he's good. Female walks around him too. Okay, good. He's in a good position. So then we can just go ahead over here to motion and use the motion puppet tool. And we're just going to use this idle. There's a dance one right here. You can click on that and preview. Okay, so just kind of jamming like that. And we can just have him like jam like that throughout the entire animation if we want. We can, increase the exaggeration, take down the speed, and then just go ahead and record. And I'm just going to have him kind of like jamming throughout the entire sequence here. He doesn't need to move. We need to add a ghetto blaster to this scene, I think. But yeah, we'll have him just kind of doing the exact same thing throughout the entire scene. And once we're done, this is a long project, then we're just going to go ahead and mask and do another round of motion puppet. And I'll show you what that looks like. So once you use that motion puppet and record the entire project, you'll have a puppet clip in your motion track down here. Okay, let's go back to frame 1. Now what I can do is I can actually combine this with another motion puppet. Just go down here to talk, for example. And if I use this like talk motion, what I can do is I can go over down here to mask, and I can mask out the legs and the hips and one arm, for example, and then preview. And if I do that, notice you can have one arm kind of move like separate from the others. He's still doing that, bouncing back and forth, but he's kind of moving that one arm, which is kind of cool. I really use this quite often, just kind of mask things out and combine them together. Really useful. Make sure that when you do this, you have it going for the entire time. Now, if I don't want him to do that for the entire time with his one hand, what I can do is maybe let's go to 700 or 750 frames. I'm going to break the original clip. So right click it and break it. And I'm going to make my project length slider, take it all the way down here. And this is very important, this next part here. Take it to the very last frame of the first clip. So right here. whoops, right there, frame 757, just like that. Because what's going to happen, if you go any further than that, it'll start to overwrite the second clip. And you don't want that. All right. I'm not going to show you what will happen if so we're kind of running short on time here. I'm just going to really quickly do that masking there. So again, using the talking, we can even use this ignore one. It doesn't really matter what he's doing with his other hands. You know, dance like the world is like dance like nobody's watching, right? Exaggerate, take speed down. And let's just record this real quick. Boom, there you go. Now it looks a bit better. So this is blending into the original full body motion there. Okay, and then boom, there we go. Okay, now because we ended the project at that frame, this puppet clip will remain where it is. So what'll happen here is we have this blend just like this. And notice it kind of like, you know, clips like that. Again, that can always be resolved by clicking and dragging the transition area. And zoop, there we go. Okay, and then taking that project length slider all the way back. Okay, one final bit of animation and we'll get to the quick camera work. The camera is going to be super fast because of the plugins. I'm just going to animate this character. I want to show you a bit more about the techniques that you can use. But let's go ahead and have her rotate around, kind of maybe over here, looking at this dude. Okay, maybe just kind of in front of him right there. Make sure she's not in the way of any joggers or anything. And for her, we're going to use Mix Moves. Mix Moves is a super easy tool to use. Really, all you do is click on stuff. If I click on Mix Moves, for example, we're going to use some stand animations here. Notice there's some idle stuff, idle response. These are in the Mix Moves 200 pack or whatever. Let's just go ahead and select stand. And what these do is when you click on them, it's going to apply them in real time. So it's going to start playing back once I click on her. Let's move her over here, move it over here. So I'm just going to click on idle, for example. Okay. Once you click on idle, it'll start playing back. Then we can go to like, you know, idle talk, idle response. We can have like happy. If we double click on happy, now it'll take her into the, you know, happy and then sad. Okay. Whatever. We probably didn't want to do the sad one, but just go back to our posing, and you'll see later on in the animation track what's happening here. So she's kind of like looking around like that, and there we go. Okay. So what happened here is if I scroll out of my timeline here, you can see it just basically applied a bunch of different clips and it blended them into to each other here in real time. Okay, so that's what the Mix Moves allows you to do. You can see here, I'm just kind of moving around. That's one way to do things. I mean, it's not ideal in some cases. In this case, it'll be fine. But one thing I can do here is I can, you know, just control click on these and just maybe like right click and merge them all together to make them into a single clip. And then what I can do is I can use like the direct puppet tool. And this will be the final motion tool I use, I promise. To kind of move her head in real time using the mouse movements. So let's go to direct puppet here, select her head, and I'm just going to use secondary rotation. And you can see I can move her head kind of like back and forth like this. Maybe primary rotation is better from this angle. Okay, you can see I can kind of rotate her head like she's like bouncing to the music or whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do that, record for the entire duration. So doof. And right after this, we're going to get into the super quick and easy camera movement, and then we'll finish it up. Now, the one thing about this, again, I probably didn't want to have that sad motion in there, but again, we'll just pretend she's not doing all that weird stuff with her body. It should have just been idle, really. Okay, but I'm just kind of moving her head like this around. And there. Okay, boom. So then if we play back, you'll just see her head movement kind of bouncing to the rhythm like that, which we didn't have before. All right, so that's like, I know it's a quick and dirty way to do it, but you know, you can really keyframe it after that. You can modify it and blend stuff together. But again, this is just, we're getting short on time here. So, and let's just apply a couple of quick dancing animations to this guy just to kind of finish it off. Doesn't matter what they are. Let's go to pop and lock. There's a pop and lock pack. Whoops. Popping. Yeah, popping. All right, we'll just, apply a bunch of these. Go to, again, same thing. Tab, click the frame and tab it. Rather click the clip rather and press tab and then just apply the next one. And we'll just fill this up with whatever. Okay, so again, these are all motions you can download as well. It's gonna blend them together. And there we go, scarecrow, whatever. All right, so then we just animated, 4 separate characters in like, less than 10 minutes really for the duration of a, we can have them looking at him as well if we want. Okay, good enough. I think, no one's gonna kind of crash into each other, so we're good. She looks a little awkward, obviously, but I definitely want to change that, refine that a little bit later on. Okay, let's get into the camera stuff. Now, in terms of installing the plugins, what's going to happen is when you install, when you go to the marketplace and you, marketplace.revolution.com. When you go to the marketplace and you go to iClone and plugin, and you can see a couple of them are free here. Let's, for this jointer and morph one, for example, we can install that. Click on it and just go to download, and it'll show up here. We can just go ahead and download it. And what it'll do is it'll download a zip file. So I'm going to go to open the zip file right here. You can see joint-driven morph right there. Just basically click on that. You can cut it or copy it, whatever you want. And the folder that you want to copy it to is in the program files. Okay, this will be the default one. You might have something different. But generally it's in program files, Reolution, iClone 7. bin 64, and then you go into open plugin, and this is where all the plugins will be. Okay, so just Control V, paste that in there. These administrative privileges, don't worry. Continue that, and then just like unzip it essentially. Extract all. It'll just extract all here. Oh, okay, yeah. Sometimes you may have an issue with extracting in the administrator folder, so just extract it somewhere else, like maybe the desktop. Because of the administrator privileges, whatever. Okay, and then you'll have this folder here, which contains the iClone avatar file, the Python file, et cetera, et cetera. Just copy that folder that's unzipped, copy that into the open plugin folder then. Yeah, continue. And there it'll be right there. Now, what you need to do next is just go to iClone, go to script and load Python. And you need to find that Python one. So I think jointer morph, yeah, there it is. And just click on this main. Generally, they'll have a main.py file that you just open. And basically, that just installed the plugin. And go to plugins, Python samples, and it should appear here. Sometimes you need to restart iClone, but it'll appear here after you restart for sure. I'm not going to do that right now. So what I want to do now is just quickly go to the do the camera work here. And this time we're going to be following the female character, I guess. So let's just find her and go back to the first frame. Press F to focus on her. Oh, there she is. Okay, we're going to have a view sort of like a kind of a rear view like this. Now, what we need to do is we need to create a camera. So let's go ahead and create a camera. And we're going to call this camera follow cam. Oops. I think I just totally misspelled that. Follow cam. There we go. Okay. And with the follow cam, what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple of things here. The first thing we need to add is a dummy because the follow cam can only follow props. So we need to create a primitive shape here, and we'll just call it like create a box. Doesn't really matter what it is. And we want to align that box to our character. So go over here to align to, click on the character and click XYZ. So it'll be aligned to the character. Generally, I'll make it a little bit smaller by pressing the R hotkey and scaling it down. Maybe take it up to her chest or something. And we want to find a camera angle with our follow cam that we want to, I think something like this will be good. We'll work with something like this, kind of follow her around. Maybe a little bit further on the side here. And then what we want to do is use our script and go to script, or rather plugins rather, and we need to have the smooth camera follow. Now this basically creates keyframes. We're going to control our camera here. Follow cam, yeah, okay, a little bug there. And the prop it should follow is called box. Okay, so we'll just select our box there. Now the frame delay is kind of how long the delay will be in following the character. I like to have a lower tautness, just because it adds for a bit more of a natural sort of look to our follow. And very important, make sure you use current offset for your camera, okay, before you go into the follow process. And we're going to do it for the entire duration of our project here. Looks good. And then we're going to go ahead and select, before we follow, I'm going to right click on the box and select link. And we're going to link it to our character. But we want to make sure we link it to our character properly by going to modify and attributes. And we want to make sure we link it to her base, not her spine. So we'll click in here, go to bone root. Okay, all right. So now if we click follow, what's going to happen is we're going to basically have, it's going to kind of process here, and we're going to have roughly 11 keyframes. It says total keys there, 11. It's going to generate 11 keyframes that are going to have sort of a nice follow with our character. And notice it keeps going, even though she's stopping and going back and forth. It keeps going, and it's very soft. Okay, so it's a very smooth kind of follow. So it's very nice, a nice tool to use, and it generates some keyframes for you, like I mentioned before. Okay, there we go, and just kind of following her all the way to the end. Okay, cool. So we have that follow, and of course, what you can do with the box there, just right-click on the box. Sorry, just select the box, and you can just go up here to make it invisible here. There we go. So now we're just kind of following her like this, very nicely, meeting someone. I like how after she hugs him, the camera still goes forward. You'll see that's the reduced tautness, okay? So that's something I really like about this feature. It kind of has a very nice, just kind of relaxed transition there. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do quickly is just do the autofocus. And this is very easy to do, super quick and easy. Plug in Python samples, camera autofocus. Okay, we're going to select the character first before we do that, because we want it to focus on her. So Python samples, camera autofocus, and you can see it automatically. We'll close down the smooth camera follow there. Automatically focuses on her. Now, the easiest way to do this, again, I'm going to do it really quick, just play back. And whenever you see something in the scene that you want to focus on that's not her, just click on it, really. It's that easy. So let's go ahead and play back. You can see it's remaining focused on her. Okay, not bad. Okay, jogger goes over in the background, no worries. So as she's approaching the couple over here, maybe I want to just pause that, and then I want to select the couple. Okay, and it's going to create a transition from her to the couple. Okay, later on, we'll play back. So you can see the couple there. And after she passes the couple, we'll pause again and just click on her. Again, so it's just following her now. Okay, so it's focusing on her. It's going to create that transition back to her. And then here we can kind of have it focus maybe on when we'll focus on maybe like her, okay? I know she's not the best dancer, but like there. And then maybe focus on him. Okay, and so we're basically just creating transitions from, of autofocus. And it'll still remain focused on him, and she'll be kind of faded into the background, but we can at the very end just kind of fade back to her, and boom, there you go. Okay, now what did that do? If we press F3 and go into the timeline, let's close this down first of all. If we press F3 and go into our timeline, and select our camera, our follow cam. Let's minimize all the props here. Select our follow cam right here and close this down. You can see there's a whole bunch of keyframes that were added here. And these are just transition keyframes. If we go to our DOF, which is depth of field, you can see it created a lot of keyframes there for autofocus. And now if we play back, which we can go ahead and do real quick here. So take a look at, it focuses on her right now. And as she approaches that couple on the balcony, again, the jogger goes out of focus. As she approaches that couple on the balcony, it zooms into focus right on them right away. Which, when you're approaching something, you may want to focus on it and then gradually fade it out later. And now we're focusing on the girl dancer over there. And then the male dancer in the middle there. And then kind of slowly transition back to her. Okay, well, she stops, but it would have been nice if she kept walking. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Okay, sorry, I'm about 15 minutes over there, guys. I had a lot to cover in terms of animation stuff. We can go out of auxiliary light mode here, and it can be a nice evening walk. All right, so we can do the entire thing in the evening. If we're doing it in the evening, we may want to go in with our visual here and add global illumination, just like that. Okay, and increase the bounce strength. Yeah, it looks good. So this would be like kind of a nice evening walk like this. Just slide through the entire thing. Okay, through her neighborhood or whatever. If we wanted to, maybe change it to daytime, we can do that as well. We can go and select our main scene light here, which is the key light. If we take that off, you can see the difference it makes there. So I'll just select that. Maybe change the color to something a bit brighter. Okay, there you go. So it's more like a daytime color. Press the / key and give us a kind of a angle where it's shining more light on the characters here. I think something like that would be fine. I'm not sure if we have our shadows on here, but we don't have shadows on. That's why. Okay, shadows. There we go. So once you add the shadows on, it's a whole different ball game. / again, let's try and get the best light we can. There you go. Something like that would be good. Maybe kind of late afternoon. Okay, and then the multiplier I think could be maybe 2, a little stronger. Okay, so we have this in the daytime. Okay, and good enough for me. So quickly change from nighttime to daytime, and you can do that easily with the phone app lighting plugin for Python there, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead. I think that's all I want to cover here. I got someone here in the chat who's asking about yes, yeah, no social distancing for them. Yeah, indeed. Good thing they're virtual. Okay, so yeah, we'll go to the Q&A now. Again, sorry, I went a little bit over time there, guys. And let's answer those questions. Any questions you guys have? Oh, quick. First question from Anthony. Are there any motions regarding stairs? Stairs, that's a good question. I've never actually looked for motions with stairs. Let's take a look and see if we can't find something. I'm not sure yet, but I know that we do have motions for stairs somewhere. Let's find a motion here. Maybe if I type in stairs. Running downstairs, running upstairs, walking upstairs. Here you go. Okay, so walking upstairs. Okay, good enough. I guess we have a couple, maybe not as many as I thought there would be. There might be climbing. Might need to search for climbing or something like that, but there you go. And that can be, of course, this is a root motion. So again, to repeat this, you would have to, again, tab over to the end of the clip and double click on the motion again to repeat that. See, running upstairs, what does that look like? Ooh, okay, cool. Good to know. Let's go back to Zoom here. There's my Q&A. Okay. Milan mentions, I had purchased all the Surge Fantasy set before ActorCore came out. Do I have to purchase the characters again from ActorCore, or do I already have to have the same characters of the previous set? So the thing about they did, I know they did take a lot of characters, models from the Surge Fantasy set. Now, the difference between those, again, like I mentioned, is these ones are fully optimized. They used a lot of took a lot of work into making them optimized, making them single material. I mean, it's kind of a bummer a little bit. They are two totally different types of characters. I know they look the same, but they're actually completely different in terms of functionality and what you're going to use them for. You could contact customer support and let them know your beef. I'm sure they'd be like happy to consider discounting something or whatever. But yeah, that's again, the characters that you see in Character Creator, that you create in Character Creator, and the ActorCore characters are quite different. Apart from that one, and they look very different apart from that one content pack there as well. Yeah, I'd contact customer support, just in case. Yeah, just so you're aware of that. Travis asks a good question. Can the actors be modified in Character Creator? Skin color, hair, build, etc. They can't really be modified too much. You can modify the very basic things about them. But like I mentioned, like I kind of showed earlier, the thing about these characters is that they are single material. So if I took a character into Character Creator, it would just be a single material. And you would have to be modifying just that single material. I can kind of show you an example, I guess, if I load up Character Creator here. Because I know that's going to be a common question, common thread. But the short answer, Travis, is not really, or in very, very limited ways. Just because the skin, the hair, the color, everything like that is already built in. If I take this female character, for example, and I just bring in like one of our regular CC3 avatars. By the way, you can find your ActorCore avatars in here. Avatar ActorCore. You'll see them all in here as well in your content manager. Where am I doing here? Let's just take a regular avatar. I don't really have many content, actually. Let's take Outfits Jody and compare her to the party girl that we have on the screen right here. Now that we have Character Creator open, we can throw that in there as well. So if I wanted to, try and send this character here to Character Creator, there's not a right-click shortcut for that, is there? Nope. Where is it again? Modify. Where is the option just to send a Character Creator here? That might be disabled. I might have changed my settings here. Anyway, so just taking a character into Character Creator, you can click and drag from iClone as well here. Replace all. And I'll show you the functionality in, yeah, so it only supports CC character now. It'll essentially, I think it'll load it up. I'm pretty sure that last time I tried this, it loads it up. But again, the functionality is very limited. So just be aware of that. These characters are mainly used, I guess it doesn't load it up even. These characters are mainly used just for the way they are. And again, their editing can be done very, very basic editing. But generally they're the way they are, and you can't really modify them too much. That's why they're kind of limited, but they're very useful for a lot of different scenarios. And I think we're going to have the option where we can edit those in Character Creator 3 as well a little bit later. But if you look at this character, the female character on the screen, look at her materials. Again, one single base color map, the character, one single mesh right here. If we select our main character, notice all the different meshes on her. Okay, and we have the digital human shader for everything really. So it's kind of optimized for use in iClone. And each mesh has its own material. So just a lot more functionality with the, a lot more editing functionality with the CC3 characters. The ActorCore characters, again, generally going to be used for, quick things that you want to throw into your project. And that's kind of why I undertook this project, because essentially animating, how many characters did I animate? Like 8 characters, 7 or 8 characters I animated in like less than 40 minutes. It's not going to be easy. And this is kind of why ActorCore is very useful. Just, throw these characters in there and use those ActorCore motions and combine them together. Kind of almost like a drag and drop sort of functionality. Although I did show some of the more detailed tools there. Let's go to the next question anyways. Is 3D Exchange 7 pipeline required to use ActorCore assets in other packages? No, once you purchase these ActorCore characters, I believe they just have FBX export functionality. No, I don't see that you would need 3D Exchange 7 pipeline to do that. 99% sure on that. If I'm wrong on that, I sincerely apologize, but you don't need 3D Exchange 7 pipeline to export to FBX or with other packet with Character Creator. So I'm sure that you don't need that with ActorCore. And I actually think that you can export directly to FBX from ActorCore. Let me just double check that, because there's target tool presets when you download a character. If we just purchase this dude real quick here, place order. Oh yeah, we need to go to our inventory here as well, by the way. Download in inventory. So if you go over here to your account, you can go to your inventory right here, and we'll just download Armor of the Void. All right, so we'll just go click on him and download. He's doing that run up the stairs motion. Yeah, so here you have your target tool application. You can choose like Blender or whatever. So you don't need 3D Exchange 7 pipeline for this for sure. Just want to confirm that. So 3ds Max, whatever. Just use your target application here, and you want to export with the blend shapes. Generally, you want to. If the target tool that you're exporting to has auto setup like Unreal does, Unity does, and Blender does, then you don't want to embed the texture. Otherwise, you do want to embed the texture. Okay, and then the texture size, again, generally just choose original, whatever. And if I choose, like, for example, Unreal, you can see there's Cinema 4D as well. Unreal, then just download it. It'll download as an FBX file down here. And that might take a second. So yeah, you don't need 3D Exchange 7 pipeline to download these ActorCore characters. Just to confirm that. John Hurd asks, will you get a warning if you try to purchase an animation that you already own? For example, as part of a pack, so you don't end up paying twice. Yeah, good question. It'll let you know if you own the animation already. It'll have the little check mark here on the pack. So if I go to items, again, actor or motion, let's go to motions over here. The little check mark here will indicate that you already own it. So you couldn't purchase it again even if you wanted to. It simply doesn't allow you to. You can favorite it, but once it's checked right here, it'll appear in your inventory. So there should be no overlap there. Okay, so Zola asks, ActorCore characters and CC3 characters, what are the differences? I kind of went through the main differences there. If you want more detail, if you want me to go into more depth on that, then I'd be more than happy to. But essentially, it's just the ActorCore characters are almost just like template characters that you can pop into a project really quickly, and they look realistic, they look really nice, and so on and so forth. Question from Cheryl: Are you phasing out CC in favor of ActorCore? No, absolutely not. They're kind of two different things. There's two different focuses on them. So, yeah, ActorCore. I mean, in terms of film, in terms of game design, they're very useful for like background or NPC characters as well. So you just pop them in, and again, they're very low resource, so you don't need to worry about like decimating the mesh and making it lower poly. They're kind of more used for that. So it's downloading the FBX right here from Unreal now. Okay, good questions, guys. Next question from Nick. Will iClone 7 users be able to get or apply for any sort of early access preview of iClone 8? Not at the moment. There is some like talk potentially on offering some beta stuff in the end of Q4, so it'll be around Christmas time maybe. But I can't really comment on that right now. Development of iClone 8 is pretty hush-hush at the moment, but there's a lot of cool things that are going to be included, obviously. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled on the forums. There may be offers to join sort of beta later on with iClone 8. All right, so that answers your question there. Question from Zola, edit motion layer question. When I pull my character's arms up to her shoulders, her arms snap back down. I can't raise her arms up any high anymore. Help. That could be just sometimes when you in the motion edit motion layer tool, when you move your character's arms around, sometimes they move a little bit, they twist a little bit too much. So what I would recommend doing, Zola, is I'll show you briefly because I can maybe recreate this in iClone here. Let's just whoops, edit motion layer tool. I'll just mirror her shoulders. For example, if you do something like rotate the shoulders quite a lot, and then try and move them up like that. Sometimes they may like pop or whatever, and there's trouble like trying to bring them down. I mean, I can't really recreate it here, but I know I've seen it sometimes. But generally, the way to resolve it is just to kind of take them back to here. And if all else fails, just go ahead and reset or just use default. If you reset to default, it'll just reset your character back to the T-pose there. And then you can start over from there if all else fails. But yeah, that's just, I can't really answer that without looking at it in more detail there. Question from Fong. For the move run motion, use tab and load the motion will run smoothly. How about those motions like iconic hero stride? Because for this hero motion, it will hiccup. Anyway, to make it walk smoothly. Hero stride. Maybe I have this somewhere in my motions here. I see hero pose. Not sure if I can find hero stride. Seems like I don't have that, unfortunately. But if you see like a motion that doesn't really loop properly, I kind of showed a little bit of an example of that with the female character, where she was kind of popping or kind of sliding a little bit when she was doing that transition from the hug into the walk. So again, it's a matter of taking the second clip and finding the proper place to transition it into. That's really all I can say is, go back and review that part of the video where I transitioned her from the greet to the walk. If I can maybe take a quick look at it now, and you'll see here. Let's get my camera stuff out of here to make things simple. So the walk to the greet here, again, was just a simple transition. And I clicked and dragged the transition area and made it smoother. So we have like this, right? Walking like that, okay? When before it was kind of like she was stopped, and yeah, it was kind of like a weird sliding animation. So if that comes across, the best advice I can give, without seeing a particular scenario, I would recommend just taking the second clip and editing that second clip to get the transition correct. And you may even need to cut it up midway through to get that transition correct as well. Yeah, there's a whole smorgasbord of motions to apply, and some of them don't go together exactly properly. So one of the most essential skills that I've found to make your life easier in iClone is clip editing. Sometimes I don't even bother with the motion key editing much. You can just modify it and warp and transition clips together to make it really easy on yourself in a lot of cases. Once you get used to it, I should probably make some more tutorials on that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you guys want to have more tutorials on motion editing, definitely feel free to leave that in the feedback forums or in the forum as well, forum.reillusion.com. Let's move to the next one here from Ronnie. Which Reillusion software can be used for manga type animation? We have a lot of people that are using Cartoon Animator for manga animation. I think did we launch a tutorial on that recently? I know might be a tutorial coming out very soon by one of our users that deals specifically with manga type characters in Cartoon Animator 4. I won't be able to link it exactly right now because I don't think it's published yet, but I did see a preview of it. Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, for manga, 2D is the medium that you want to use. For 3D, there's 3D anime as well, but manga is generally going to be Cartoon Animator 4. I hope that answers your question there, Ronnie. Pete mentions here, it would be great help if iClone would show the animation preview for a motion file like in ActorCore. Any talk of that being changed? I would assume that you're talking about kind of showing a little preview of the motion in the Smart Gallery, maybe. I haven't heard anything about that. This is actually the first time I've actually heard of a request for that feature, but I think it is a pretty interesting feature that you're mentioning there. Might make things look a little bit messy, too many motions moving around in your content manager. But if we could set that as a thing you can toggle on and off, I'd be super happy with that. But I think it is kind of a good feedback there. Let's go to the next question from Tony. Can you explain the different opinion or options in the realign, reset, pivot, etc., and why you didn't use these to adjust the realignment of two motions, for example, the leg issue? Okay, I'll show you a quick example of reset pivot. Generally, okay, so say for example, instead of continuing to apply that root motion like I did with the let's use the male character as an example here, and let's just have let's go to preview here. I'll show you reset pivot because sometimes people they like to use the stationary motion slash change the transform position method instead of root motions. Let's just copy this guy here. I'm going to hold control and click and drag him to create a copy of him here. There we go. His shadow clone. We'll right click it and just remove the object animation for now. But say I wanted to apply that same walk. Is it city life? Let's go to animation. There we go. The walk we applied to him was walk normal, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you apply the walk normal to him, of course he's gonna walk forward like we showed earlier, just like this. Okay, and this is him. We have his track open in the timeline right here, so he'll walk forward like that. Maybe let's put on auxiliary light so we can actually see him. So he'll walk forward just like this, right? Now, if we don't want him to walk forward, what we can do is we can just right click on the clip and select reset pivot. Okay, and what reset pivot will do is it'll just have him walk stationary like this. And then what we can do is we can loop this. So just click and drag like that, loop it as long as we want. And then we can manually adjust the position of his transform position as he moves forward. So just like something like this. Move him over like this. There we go. So this is just one method that we can use. They should essentially walk at the same pace. Oh, we needed to, dang it. Let's Control Z that. You always need to add a transform keyframe at the first frame of your clip before you move on to the other ones. There you go. So make sure that he remains where he is. And somewhere down here, move him up here. Okay, and then they essentially should be moving at the same rate. We go back here. Oh, and you'll see one annoying thing when you try and animate like this is you'll see him kind of like ease in and ease out. Okay, which is obviously you don't want that for walking from one point to the next. So just right click on the second transition or second keyframe there and change it from default to linear there. Okay, and then you'll have the walking essentially identically there. Okay, so that's just a different way to do it. That's the reset pivot. And sometimes, you may want to do that in certain cases. It really depends on the scenario in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that. Let's move on to the next question for now, though. I think that's one way to kind of mention that. If you have more questions, you can always email me as well, kai@reallusion.com, kai@reallusion.com. Let's go to Tenji. Can I get a copy of this project? Can each character be saved individually? Yeah, we can send out a copy of this project. I actually think we will be sending out a copy of this project. However, keep in mind that unless you've purchased all of these motions and these characters, it'll show a watermark on your screen, so you won't be able to render it properly without a watermark on it. Because there's a lot of, all of these ActorCore characters are essentially purchased. I think some of them are free, but yeah, a lot of them are purchased as well. All right. Yeah, we'll send it all. I'll make sure that we provide a project for you guys to check out. Walter, Mr. Kai, it's crucial that the motion archive be showed like Actor Pro. For not spending time, obvious to have a second screen. It is normal in this kind of working. Not sure exactly what you're referring to. It might be the smart gallery, Walter, but yeah, we are definitely improving the smart gallery. We literally just launched a smart gallery last version last year. So the smart gallery, it's pretty smart, but it can be smarter, Oh, ActorCore, not Actor Pro. Sorry, I got your next question there. Motion archive and ActorCore. Yeah, Walter, we're definitely always eager for feedback on things that you guys want to improve with ActorCore. Again, just launched a couple months ago now. But yeah, we definitely really want your feedback, everyone's feedback on ActorCore, how it can be improved. We're really looking forward to that actually, because this is a big project for us, ActorCore, and we're looking to improve it and make it as easy to use and as efficient to use as possible. For those of you who may not even be professional animators, who may be in like pre-visualization or ArcViz. So yeah, feedback is extremely valuable to us, and we'd appreciate if you guys leave that in the forums, forum.reallusion.com, or else you can just leave it in the feedback form for the webinar as well. Either one of those methods is fine, and our development team voraciously peruses all of those feedback suggestions, so they will not go unnoticed. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Tony, every time I start up iClone, each of the Python plugins requires OK as part of the startup process. Is that normal? Can it be avoided to speed up iClone startup? I've never encountered a situation where when you start up iClone, the Python plugins all require you to select OK. That's definitely not normal, Tony. So maybe contact customer support about that. Maybe a bug somewhere, or you've installed it in an incorrect folder or something like that. I've never come across that, so I don't really have any suggestions for that, unfortunately. So sorry, Tony. Customer support would be the way to go with that. Let's go to the next question, though, from Cheryl. Can you use ActorCore motions with normal characters? Yeah, absolutely. These motions are not restricted to ActorCore characters. you can apply them to essentially, any character that you want. Any iClone character, even the older iClone characters, they all share this like a similar rig. So yeah, no restrictions there. Question from Mohammed. Can the result of these plugins transfer to UE4? For example, the muscle flex. Yep, the muscle flex can transfer over. That's kind of like using the morph animation for the muscles. That definitely can transfer over. Yeah, anything can transfer over really to Unreal Engine 4. There's not much that can't, simply because we've worked really hard on that pipeline to make our stuff as compatible as possible with Unreal Engine. Question from Kim. Can we take a CC3 character and reduce the poly count to accomplish something similar? Yeah, absolutely. There's something called Insta LOD in Character Creator 3. Insta LOD is available with Character Creator 3 pipeline. Just be aware of that. This doesn't come with the original version. You have to get the pipeline version. So Insta LOD here, you can just select, merge the material. So you can merge all the materials into one material. You can select remesher, and remesher allows you to go over to Insta LOD here and set the maximum amount of polys that you want on your character. So you can, 12,000, for example, would be the one that the ActorCore characters, you want to keep the texture size, 4K like the ActorCore characters are. Yes, select a number of different levels of detailed mesh. So this is how many FBXs it'll export. There's tutorials that go into more detail on this Insta LOD, but essentially this will reduce the poly count for general CC3 characters. All right, hopefully that answers your question there, Kim. Next question is from Alberto. There are a lot of information for just 1 hour. How can I learn to make it short like you did? Yeah, I apologize, guys. I kind of went really fast through a lot of the animation stuff, and that's simply because of the time restriction. I kind of spent too much time exploring the websites a little bit. But I think, when you ask like how can you do it faster like I did, is really just being familiar with the tools. To me, the motion tools are fairly intuitive and quite simple to use. I've gone through a lot of trial and error. I know sometimes there's a lot of frustrations that come up with particular, especially the interaction between particular tools. And there's a lot I can go into detail on that. They're quite frustrating, but to do it short, that's what the ActorCore motions are there for, simply to click and drag onto a character. Like I created, I'm not sure how long this project is. Whoops. Let's see. It is about 30 seconds of animation. To animate 7 or 8 characters for 30 seconds, that'll take you a long time, with most software, unless you're doing like, body motion capture for each one. And even then, that's kind of hard. But, the way that I did it is I just basically took ActorCore motions, applied them and blended them together. And that's why you can do it in such a quick amount of time. So when you're on like a schedule restriction, for example, you can really whip things out fast. And of course, there's a lot more stuff that I would want to go into more detail on the stuff that I did here. For example, the one girl that looks really weird when she's dancing over on the left there. Yeah, stuff like that. I'd want to let's go over to which I'm talking about. Yeah, this girl has the most awkward dancing of like any character I've ever seen. She's kind of hidden there. Anyways, yeah, I would go into more detail and just refine that, and obviously do some editing on her. That's a weird dance move right there. Anyways, okay. Yeah, not a single answer on that, unfortunately, Alberto. Just kind of experience and being familiar with how the tools interact with each other. Next question is from Ronnie. Can I apply iRay metal or glass material to sci-fi characters in CC3? It says it's not possible to apply materials to the character, but I think there should be what it is. Yeah, essentially you can apply, any sort of material to any sort of character. There's no restrictions really. If you have a character, there's a digital human shader, there's PBR. Like if you select a character and go to your materials, there's different shader settings here: shader type, PBR traditional, subsurface scattering, or digital human hair, otherwise digital human shader. And when you're in iRay, of course, with iRay, there's a whole new can of worms to open up in terms of the render settings. I don't really have iRay open up right now, but I'm not sure you have it installed. I don't have it installed on this computer. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different settings to go into iRay that you can do. So yeah, Ronnie, it is possible to get glass material on your character. A character made of glass, I think, should be possible as well. I'm not sure how it's going to look, but yeah, it is possible. Okay, another question from Ronnie. After animation with ActorCore just now, do you need to render the animation to get more realistic human and environmental look? Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now we're on the crappiest kind of shading, which is the auxiliary light. So take the auxiliary light off, and we get this, which looks pretty good. I mean, it looks quite nice, good quality for for an architectural previs, or else NPC characters in your scene. And this is all done with a single light, really, which is pretty cool. I just have that one single light, the single directional light. Very, very simple and easy to apply. Yeah, so I mean, if you're an architect or a developer selling a condo development, this could be showing how cool and hip the neighborhood is. Anywho, yeah, I guess to show the brief steps I kind of did already. Just take off auxiliary light, make sure that your render setting is set to high. You can mess around in the visual tab down here. There's a couple of things you can mess around with. Number one, your global illumination. You can increase or decrease the shadow strength. Go back to frame 1 here, or the bounce strength rather. Looks like I already did that kind of. So you can kind of make it more bright or a little darker. Shadows, global, like the shadows stronger like this. Generally with the daytime scene though, you're not going to have super dark shadows. You want to keep them relatively low. Your strength can go down as well. Bias. Basically all this stuff in the visual tab. Once you're done your animation, you're set, to render. You're going to go through all the stuff in the visual tab and apply them all. You can even do HDR effects as well if you want, like bloom scale. If you want to have kind of like a dreamy sort of look, we can do that as well. It looks kind of like a dream sequence. That's one thing the HDR effect can do. You can have glare. If you're doing like a Star Trek with J.J. Abrams, you want to have these spectral blooms or whatever. Anyhow, a lot of fun stuff you can do to make the scene look better or worse. I don't even have IBL in this scene, which just adds basically some nice ambient lighting if you want. One more thing you can do as well is add effects. If you add effects, and there's only one color adjust really. Increase the brightness. This is just like the what do you call it? Just kind of tweaking the lighting values in the scene, the color values in the scene after it's been created. And you can find that stuff in the content manager under media, I believe, under stage effects. Look up LUT or look up tables. So this again, just adjusting color, different film styles. So I can just apply this desert sun effect, for example, and this will kind of give us a nice sort of sepia desert sun sort of effect. This would maybe be a bit more looks like it's from the 70s or something. And you can go, of course, back to the modify, or rather the visuals, sorry. And you'll see the desert sun here. You can adjust the amount of contribution, just like an Instagram filter, essentially, And you can combine those in various different ways as well. So that would be the very brief overview of the tweaking you could do at the end of your project there. Okay, question from Milan. What are the frame rates for an exported motion? You have a number of different frame rates that you can select from ActorCore. Shot Dead, that seems like a cool one. When you download it, oh, by the way, when you download a motion, it's going to ask you, which rig you want to assign it to. If you're using a custom rig that is not an ActorCore rig, you want to select a female or the male robot right here. These are kind of like the generic rigs that are, used in Unreal. So I just select one of those. Export motion only, probably. So here you can select the frames per second of your export. You can change it to 24 frames a second, 30 frames a second, or 60 frames a second. Okay, depending what you want, and then just go download. Just be aware to remember the frames per second, because yeah, that's something that you want to keep organized for sure. Hope that answers your question there, Milan. All right, thank you, Kim. I'm glad the Insta LOD thing kind of answered your questions there. Okay, some people in the chat. Just thanks, everyone. Oh, motion preview on hover, Frank kind of clarified. I wasn't looking at the chat window, guys. I was looking at the Q&A window there, unfortunately. But yeah, good to see some banter in the chat room. I think that's looks like all the questions we have. So yeah, I want to, thanks everyone so much for being here with us today. Really glad to have you guys along. Hopefully you learned a lot of stuff. I know I kind of sped through a lot of the motion editing stuff, but it's a good idea to just kind of, maybe review on your own time if you want. Again, we will send out the recording to you guys, so you don't have to worry about that. You can, you can watch back the YouTube video at like, 0.25 speed or something like that, and I'll just be talking really slowly. Anyways, yeah, we'll continue on, I guess, next week. I believe we have a webinar with 2D with Mark Diaz for Cartoon Animator 4. I recommend checking that out if you want to learn some more like animation techniques with Mark. Again, thanks so much, everyone, for being with me here. Glad to have you along for the webinar. And make sure you fill the survey and get the 10% discount for the content store. And be sure to like put your hat in the ring for the lip sync competition as well. A lot of money to be won there, a lot of prizes to be won. So I really encourage you guys to check that out and see how you can do there. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I'll bid you guys all adieu. Good morning to you people over there in Australia, and good evening to us here in North America. And if you're here from Europe, you're probably watching at like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy, but anyways, all right.